Motorsports coverage is pleased to welcome you live to the beautiful Irish Hills of Michigan, site of the ultra-competitive Michigan International Speedway, and seen at today's NASCAR Busch Grand National Series Detroit Gasket 200. It is a beautiful day here in Brooklyn, Michigan, as we are just 60 miles west of the Motor City of Detroit. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Fudge. You know, it would be hard to believe that 12 years ago, when the powers that be at NASCAR consolidated the old late model Sportsman Series and formed the Busch Grand National Tour, that they would ever envision this tour would meet or exceed the Winston Cup Series when it comes to competition and excitement. That's exactly what has happened. Take a look at what has to be the closest point battle of any motorsport series in the world. Owensboro, Kentucky driver David Green just 4 points ahead of Alabama driver Steve Grissom. In fact, the top five separated by just 189 points. Back to 10th spot, Ricky Craven. Well, it's awfully close even back there. Just 264 points separating the top 10. Once again, I'm joined by two-time NASCAR champion Ned Jarrett. And Ned, one of the reasons I believe this series is so close is they had 10 different winners in the first 16 races in 1993. And a win today by a young driver could really improve his chances of getting a Winston Cup ride.
It really could, Jerry. You know, Detroit is only some 60 miles from here, and of course the manufacturers, or the American car manufacturers, are located there. Many of the officials of those car companies come here to watch this race, and of course tomorrow's race as well. And it's a good place for a driver to showcase his talents, and if he can win here, it just might mean going on into Winston Cup racing. Todd Bodine won here last year. He beat 8 NASCAR Winston Cup drivers to the line. The closest Busch Series driver to him finished in 10th place, Joe Nemechek, who went on to win the Busch Championship last year. So, Benny Parsons, timing might be just right for a driver to win here today who maybe hasn't won before.
That's exactly right, Ned, because we know for a fact Winston Cup cars 14, 15, 28, 55 have not signed a driver for 1994. They're all interviewing drivers. They're waiting, trying to figure out who the best driver for their team are going to be, but they haven't signed a driver. These Busch drivers today at the Michigan International Speedway, they hope that they can show something today. Those owners of those cars like, and they'll give them a call this week and say, hey, how about come and drive in my car? That's what all these guys are thinking about. Get into Winston Cup. Well, maybe not all of them, right, John Kirsten?
You're exactly right, Benny. There are a number of drivers in the field today who are just looking for a good run here, so they might be able to get a full-time ride in this series for next year. Take Casey Elliott, for instance. He qualified 8th. He's Bill's nephew, Ernie's son. Already been very impressive. He hopes a good run today will land him a sponsorship, enabling him to run full-time on the Busch Series next year. You look a little bit further back in the field, Johnny Benson Jr., the ASA points leader, Tim Steele, the ARCA Hooters Cup points leader, and David Bonnet, all looking for good runs today that hopefully will move them up the ladder into Busch Grand National Series, and then who knows, maybe in a few years into Winston Cup. So, Jerry, all these guys looking for good runs today should make for an exciting race.
Indeed it should, John. So many variables, experience mixed with inexperienced drivers, Goodyear versus Hoosier in tires, and of course the pit stops, 1 or 2 pit stops, all the elements that contribute to the excitement of this series. Our Speed World coverage today is being brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is One Tough Motor Oil. By Goodyear, #1 in tires. And by Allied Signals Fram Filters. You can pay a little now or a lot later.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. It gives your engine superior protection against wear, superior protection against heat and stress, superior cleaning power. Protect your car's engine with new advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
This is a new car. I'd be crazy not to use Quaker State.
Back in Brooklyn, Michigan, take a look at our starting lineup. 41 strong here for this 200-mile, 100-lap event. The front row, Bill Elliott, his second pole and second track record of the year in the Hardy Boys Racing. Ford Thunderbird, 175.447. Alongside him, Winston Cup competitor Mark Martin. Back to row 2, 2 more drivers who broke the old track record. Robert Presley, the Alliance Training Center Chevrolet, and Rick Wilson in Charlie Henderson's Food Country Chevrolet. Back to row 3, Richard Lassiter. Remember the flip he took at Talladega? Oh my goodness, end over inside, and beside him, Terry Labonte. Row 4, Larry Pearson and Casey Elliott, 19-year-old son of Ernie. Row 5, the defending series champion, Joe Nemechek and Tom Peck. Row 6, Phil Parsons and Ward Burton, Ned, scheduled to start in 12th spot, will actually move to the rear of the field.
Yes, he wrecked his car yesterday, had to go to a backup car, so he will be coming from the back of the field. Some good drivers pretty far back down the line. Chad Little has run awfully strong this year. He's back there. Look where Ernie Urban is, back in row 13. So I think we're going to see some exciting racing as these drivers try to come up through the pack.
Tommy Houston, of course, the veteran back there, starting his 347th consecutive Busch Series event. Every race they've had in 12 years, he's been a part of it. David Bonnet, yes, the youngest son of Neil Bonnet. He will start back there his 3rd Busch Series start. Glad to have you with us here at Michigan International Speedway as the Pontiac Trans Am safety car gets ready to pull away. You'll be riding along today with the Winn-Dixie in-car camera of Mark Martin. Jack Roush Racing Machine at qualified 2nd. Beautiful day for racing. Crowd estimated at approximately 70,000 on hand here as the flag is waved by Carl Simmons and Mike Harwood as we're set for 200 miles of racing action.
Jerry, you can see how wide the pavement is here at the Michigan International Speedway. We'll see some 3 and 4 wide racing, especially on the tri-oval here in front. But up front, it's side by side with Bill Elliott and Mark Martin.
Out of turn 2, Elliott and Martin, 2 veterans of Winston Cup competition. Right behind them is Robert Presley. He's one of the drivers you heard Benny Parsons talk about earlier. It's rumored to go in one of those open Winston Cup rides next week. As Mark Martin has about a half a car length separation in turns 3 and 4 as they head to you at almost 190 miles an hour.
Boy, look at this, Jerry. That's some of that 3 and 4 racing we were talking about back in the pack. That's for about middle of the field, 18th through 20th. 4 cars went into there side by side, and the 3-car of Earnhardt just went right on out in front of them.
Good move by Mike Wallace on the inside. The FTP Brake Chevrolet back up front. Mark Martin has picked up where he left off before. 1 car spinning, the car number 41.
Johnny Benson, as a car takes a roll as it slid backwards, apparently the air just picked the back end of it up and around and rolling over. Here they come back to the start-finish line. Mark Martin will lead them to the start-finish line.
Caution being shown for the first time today. A violent crash out of turn 2. The young driver, Johnny Benson Jr., driving the car number 41, 30 years of age, from Grand Rapids, Michigan. A couple hours away from here, driving a Delco Remy Chevrolet. It's a car owned by Ernie Irvin. Here again is what happened.
Well, it looks like he might have been tagged by a car, Jared. There was a pack of cars running together, and then it gets backwards, and you see the spoiler sticking up there. The air gets under it and lifts the back end up, and then it just starts rolling over in the grassed area on the backstretch here at the Michigan International Speedway. Fortunately, it does not get over into that guardrail, but that's a pretty serious-looking crash, but it lands on its wheels.
Different angle, again, for that scary crash here in the early laps. Looking across the racetrack, you see the rear of the car starting to get off the ground. You'll get a sense of actually how high this car will lift here as it came off the ground and begins to tumble. Higher than some of the scaffolds there where our cameras are located.
Well, Jerry, the speeds have increased so much here at the Michigan International Speedway in the last couple of years, and in this race in particular, Goodyear has some awfully good tires now that are running faster, and the speeds are up quite a bit here, and some were concerned that maybe when these cars got backwards, like we've seen them do at Talladega and Daytona, that they just might have that flying effect, and here we go on the second lap and seeing that happen.
Safety crews are on the scene immediately. As you see, we are getting reports that the driver appears to be okay. We'll try to confirm that when we come back to Michigan International Speedway after this. A violent impact brings out the first caution flag off of turn 2. Back with more from Brooklyn, Michigan after this. Stay with us.
Imagine this is a sidewall of a tire. The whole idea is to keep the tread area in level contact with the road, or you'll lose traction, especially in cornering. Now, Goodyear has learned a lot in NASCAR racing and applied that knowledge to Eagle street radials. In cornering, there's a lot of force trying to lift the tire, but Goodyear Eagle's racing-inspired sidewall design works to hold the tire firmly to the road. Eagle radials, only from Goodyear. We like to say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
280 seemed out of reach. It's Joe Amato and Autolite who punch it. The wall goes to 290. Connie Coletta and Autolite bash it. 300, the barrier. Kenny Bernstein and Autolite shatter it. Autolite and the Record Breakers. Wow! I feel good. We feel pretty good about that.
We thought we'd been everywhere, seen everything. We were wrong.
We're back to the bone. We're back to the bone.
These guys were weird, and we liked it. Later, they took us to the Tower of Bud. Brother, tomorrow we ride again.
Back at Michigan International Speedway, taking a look at safety crews, they have loaded Johnny Benson Jr. in the ambulance. He stood up beside the car and was able to smile to some of the crew there, and that certainly was good news as they began to load the Delco Remy Chevrolet Luminar, what's left of it. Here's what happened just moments ago in the early laps. The car gets backwards and then begins to lift.
Yes, it does. You can see how the spoiler up in the air, and of course that has a lifting effect, and as the car got on the grass there, it started flipping over and over, finally lands on its wheels, but as you said, Johnny Benson Jr. got out of the car and walked to the ambulance.
30-year-old Grand Rapids, Michigan driver. There he is standing with the safety crew, talking to the safety crew. He currently leads the ASA point standings. He has 7 wins in his career, 3 this year. He has a lead over Mike Eddy in the ASA standings, and he turns around and smiles and says, man, what a ride. And fortunately, he's able to walk away due to the safety required by these NASCAR Busch Series cars. And while they were getting him out of the car, this car came down pit road, the Hardee's Chevrolet. Ward Burton, and you heard Ned Jarrett mention at the top of the show, they had problems earlier this week, had to go to a backup car. He has been on and off pit road. For more, here's Benny Parsons.
Jerry, you're right. He crashed his primary car in practice. He went to a backup car. Only had 1 slow lap of practice in that car. They came in for nothing other than to check the car, make sure the tires were not rubbing the fender, they had no oil leaks, and everything was okay. They were in the back of the pack, and after 1 lap, they'd only gained a couple of spots. They really didn't lose anything, so they came down just as a precaution to check everything. I thought it was a very good move, and it shows that these guys are thinking of Ward Burton.
Indeed, Ward Burton is one of 5 cars on the Hoosier tires. The rest of the field of 41 on the Goodyear radials. Back with more from Michigan as we're under caution after this. Stay with us.
Most of our customers come to AutoZone for low prices and for parts they can replace themselves. And many people come because we speak their language. Things like duration and lift and compression ratios, stuff like that. Because a guy who's going to rebuild an engine, he won't buy parts from just anybody. And since AutoZone stocks complete engines, we know what makes them tick inside and out. Sure, we sell our best parts at our best prices every day. But if we know something that's going to help you do the job right, you get that free.
No, sir. I won't go in those woods. Trails are too tight, twisted. And they say some kind of crazy wolf roams in there. All I know is I hear howling noises all hours of the day and night.
Introducing the new Timberwolf 4x4 from Yamaha. When you're in a tight spot that screams for 4-wheel drive, just cry wolf.
You hear that? That sound will curl your hair.
Win ESPN's NFL 12th Man Contest, and you get to sit right here for all your favorite teams' away games. Great seats for you and 3 of your buddies. And the 12th man flies first class to all 8 away games, stays in team hotels, and gets $25,000. And this guy up here, he's the 57,460th man. He gets Ice Train. ESPN's NFL 12th Man Contest, sponsored by McDonald's and Lee Jeans. Enter to win. Call 1-900-2884-NFL. 95 cents per call, no phone call necessary. Enter now.
Back in Michigan, still under caution due to a violent flip for Johnny Benson Jr. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Jerry, I'm down at the infield care center. Johnny Benson Jr. has just been brought in here by ambulance. He got out of the ambulance, walked inside under his own power, didn't have a limp, so it looks like he's in pretty decent shape. They're going to check him out just to make sure, and we'll hang out and talk to him, find out exactly what happened in just a few minutes.
Thank you very much, John. He's in capable hands. Dr. Greg Ballman and the staff here at MIS, one of the best in the country when it comes to acute care and trauma. And they'll check him out. We'll hopefully hear from the youngster very shortly. Back to green flag racing is Mark Martin, a 2-time winner in Busch Series competition in 1993, will lead him down single file into turn 1.
It's pretty well single file all the way back through there. Jerry, as we see the one car going slow down on the inside. But Bill Elliott now trying to hook up with Mark Martin. Drafting is very definitely a factor here at the Michigan International Speedway because of the speeds they run here.
Down the backstretch into turn 3, the differential there, you see about 15 car lengths back to the third place car. That's the front two right there. Bill Elliott in second place in the Budweiser Ford.
Robert Presley trying to catch up, and look here, they're 4 wide, and Earnhardt down on the inside this time. The last time we saw him 4 wide just before the caution came out, Earnhardt was up on the outside. He goes wherever he needs to go to make some passes.
Earnhardt heads for turn 1 by way of Ann Arbor, making the left-hand turn down on the bottom of the racetrack, and that's Kenny Schrader in the car number 52 right behind him. The AC Delco sponsored car. They're trying to move by the Stanley Tools machine of Larry Pearson, who's had better and better runs each week. Had a great second-place run up at Milwaukee. Behind him, the car number 48, the Capios Ice Cappuccino car. That's Sterling Marlin in a brand-new Banjo Matthews prepared machine.
Jerry Earnhardt started in the 16th position. He is now up to 7th.
Close competition here on the banks at Michigan International Speedway. The banking in the turns is 18 degrees. On the front straightaway, it's banked at 12 degrees, so your eyes are not deceiving you. There is quite a bit of banking here on the front stretch. Leaders now heading off turn 2. Back straightaway.
And they pulled away from Robert Presley, who is in third place, Jerry. Here is Joe Nemechek, the current Winston Cup point champion in the Ding-Team Chevrolet, slowing down.
Joe Nemechek doing double duty in Michigan in the Busch Series competition and also in the Winston Cup race, which you'll see tomorrow. And unexpectedly, his car slowing. Nemechek currently 6th in the point standings, so we showed you how tight that was. A problem early here could really create a problem for him. His best finish this year, 2nd in Richmond. As Vic Kangas and the crew, the Ding-Team crew, will wait for Joe Nemechek, the 1992 Busch Grand National Series champion, to bring his car slowly down pit road. Again, the speed limit here in the pits is 65 miles per hour. We'll check back with them as our pit crew down trackside. We'll check with that crew, but up front, Elliott still stays a couple of car lengths back from Mark Martin.
Well, there we see Mark Martin as he drives that Winn-Dixie Ford. Looks pretty comfortable in there, Jerry, just sitting out front there like he's on a Saturday afternoon drive. Well, he is on a Saturday afternoon drive. And here is Phil Parsons in car number 29 slowing down. The Matchbox White Rose Chevy.
His car, I believe, got tagged a little bit when they spins over there a minute ago as we have a lead change up front. The Budweiser Ford Thunderbird. This is not the Junior Johnson-owned Budweiser car. This car is actually owned by Charles Hardy and prepared by Gene Roberts. Jim Ruggles, the engine builder for Bill Elliott. The car is prepared down in Dahlonega, Georgia. Gene Roberts, the crew chief. And now Mark Martin will take a look inside. You're riding along inside with the Winn-Dixie in-car camera with the Batesville, Arkansas driver.
And when they made that lead change, Robert Presley was able to close in just a little bit on him. Robert has a good lead over the 4th place car, which is Rick Wilson. And Terry Labonte back there are drafting together. As Earnhardt comes up on them, there they come. There's Rick Wilson in the 75 car, Terry Labonte in the white 14, and Earnhardt coming into the picture now in the black Chevrolet. He has moved up to 6th place.
That's the battle for 4th and 5th right there. Charlie Henderson's Food Country USA car number 75. And here's Ernie Irvin in the car number 4 beginning to make a move. Trying to look inside of Ken Schrader.
Yeah, Ernie started way back in the field. In fact, he started 25th. He had to qualify on the second day, but he had a very fast time on the second day, which would have put him way up in the field had he turned out on the first day.
We might explain why Ernie didn't qualify on the first day. He had a pretty good reason. He flew home on Thursday to University Medical Center. We're talking about the driver of the car number 4 there, that orange and white label Chevrolet. His wife, Kim, gave birth to a 5-pound, 12-ounce baby girl, Jordan Lee. So congratulations to Ernie Irvin as he nearly slips up toward the wall.
Oh boy, he did. I don't know if he's slowing down and was just getting out of the way. He is certainly slower than he was there a moment ago. He was trying to pass down on the inside, and he just couldn't make the pass. It was sort of like Talladega when you see cars get lined up in a draft, and he just couldn't go by. But now other cars are going by him on the inside. Well, now here he comes back on the outside. So we're just have to wait and see if he has a problem or if he's just changing grooves on the racetrack.
Side-by-side battle. Chuck Bound on the inside, Ernie Irvin on the outside. But let's check in with John Kernan.
Well, Jerry, Johnny Benson Jr. has come out of the infield care center. Johnny, you don't look like a guy who flipped in end over end and just totaled out a race car.
Well, you know, it's been a great weekend, and, you know, Ernie gave me a great opportunity, and Delco Remy, and, man, we're sorry to see it happen. You know, I'm not sure what all happened. All of a sudden, I was just going sideways, and but we're doing okay.
You know, we talked the other day about this is the biggest track you'd ever been on, how much faster was it, anything else, and I guess that's got to be, without a doubt, the most violent wreck you've had.
I think it's probably the highest I've been, so it's no doubt. Track's fast. I'm doing great, everybody at home, so, you know, no worries.
Johnny Benson Jr., Jerry, it's good to report he is okay.
It is good to report that as we have a lead change once again up front as Mark Martin moves to the inside of Bill Elliott. Coming off the 18-degree bankings, they head down the back straightaway, 2,242 feet. It is a dead heat.
And look at, excuse me, Jerry, Robert Presley now with them switching the lead up there. He's been gradually catching them. Now he is up to them as they go side by side through turns 3 and 4.
And Mark Martin looking from the in-car camera. You can see Elliott's car up high, and now Presley will ride up on the outside and try to draft by with Bill Elliott. Two-car draft. We'll see if the draft will really work. The speeds here are what, Ned?
Well, they'll reach 185 or so on these straightaways. These Busch cars don't have to lift a whole lot in the turns. The Winston Cup cars have to back off because they have more horsepower. But these cars are lighter, go through the turns faster, and so they simply don't have to back off that much. So the drafting very definitely is effective here.
And Mark Martin assumes the lead. It looks like Robert Presley will just ease between Darrell Walker's Western Auto Chevrolet, which is off the pace, and try to take second spot away from Bill Elliott. Says, no, I don't think so. As the Budweiser Ford goes all the way up toward the wall out of turn 4, and looks like they will race toward the stripe, and Elliott will be in second place.
And while they were racing side by side, Mark Martin was able to open up a little bit of a lead.
We are in the early laps here at Michigan National Speedway, the second annual Busch Grand National Series Detroit Gasket 200. Back after this.
Hi, I'm Steve Shannon. At Jelks, our goal is to provide you with a shopping, buying, and ownership experience that exceeds your expectations.
Come by Jelks Chrysler Plymouth today and see the new standard in luxury and performance, like the all-new Concorde, Voyager van, and the stylish New Yorker.
Hello, I'm Steve Meredith. Along with our commitment to customer satisfaction and service, we have the quality vehicles that have made us leaders in the automobile industry.
Jelks Chrysler Plymouth, 920 G Street, Jonesboro.
Auto Week brings you the winningest coverage first. Don't wait. Get Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring, now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for this ESPN Race Weekend special. Get Auto Week at the lowest price ever, $17.95 for 52 issues. But don't wait. This offer expires midnight on Monday. Get Auto Week at the lowest price ever. Call 1-800-828-4100.
The Grand Prix of Hungary on ESPN. Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna have left the rest of the Formula One field starving for a win. Can their appetites be satisfied at the Grand Prix of Hungary? Tomorrow morning, live on ESPN.
Back at Brooklyn, Michigan, Busch Grand National Series racing action. There's your leader, the Winn-Dixie Ford Thunderbird, Jack Roush Racing. For Mark Martin in second place, the Alliance Training Center's Chevrolet. Robert Presley and the Budweiser Ford of Bill Elliott is third. But behind them, Ned, they're coming in a hurry, including one man in black.
Well, Earnhardt has come down up to 4th place from his 16th starting position. He has passed some awfully good race cars, and yeah, I think they might be gaining on the leaders a little bit, although once Mark Martin got back in front of Bill Elliott, he has been able to pull away a little bit. Darrell Walker coming into the pits. We saw it get left there a little bit ago, but this trio right here, that's Earnhardt leading Rick Wilson and Terry Labonte, and they're trying to catch the lead cars. That is 4th, 5th, and 6th.
That is 4th, 5th, and 6th. You saw a little bit of tire smoke coming out of the Rick Wilson car number 75. Wilson, who had a great qualifying run. Chris Carrier, the crew chief on that car, veteran crew chief out of Johnson City, Tennessee. And he's Tennessee State graduate in engineering technology, and put a good car into Rick Wilson. That car now holding in the 5th position. As he begins to move in on Earnhardt. Take a look at, he started 16th, and he has come to the front in a hurry. Reminiscent of his performance at Talladega a few weeks ago, back on July 24th, when Earnhardt started back in the field, ended up winning at Talladega in the Busch Series competition down there.
Now, right behind them, Jerry, is Morgan Shepherd in his own car, number 21, an unsponsored car. That's Phil Parsons, who made a pit stop there a moment ago, that's running with him. But Morgan beginning to close in on Earnhardt and them a little bit. Here's Rick Wilson trying to move on the inside of Earnhardt, trying to take that position of getting away. Earnhardt passed him on the outside a little bit ago with the help of Terry Labonte. Now they run side by side. That's going to hurt them as far as their drive towards the front. Because anytime two cars are running side by side, it slows them down. Now Terry Labonte don't know which one to follow, so he says, I'll just try to pass both of them.
He says neither. I will go downstairs and try it myself. So they're 3 wide here at Michigan. This racetrack's so very wide. The turns are 73 feet wide as you watch them side by side with a 10-foot apron. The straightaway is 45 feet wide with a 12-foot apron.
What a great move by Terry Labonte. He was trying to figure out which one to go behind, and he had some momentum. He said, well, by golly, I'll just pass both of them, and he did. Uh-oh, there's some smoke coming from the Phil Parsons car. Phil had made a pit stop there a moment ago, so he slowed it down now. Got it down on the inside. No caution flag being shown. Apparently nothing wrong out on the track.
That's the White Rose Collectibles Chevrolet Lumina for Phil Parsons. And once again, a 2-car draft up high, a pair of Chevrolets. Terry Labonte and Dale Earnhardt, and Rick Wilson will try the inside, but that's not going to be the quick way as Labonte leads them by, and they will be able to use the draft to stay up on the high side of the racetrack.
Folks, this is the best racing on the racetrack right now that we see. The front 3 drivers have pulled away from this group, but they're all running single file, so you're not missing anything up there. Mark Martin's still leading, Robert Presley still second, and Bill Elliott third, but these guys are really mixing it up back here as Morgan Shepherd now catches that. Morgan's got a big open house a week from today at his shops in Conover, North Carolina, and he invites everybody to come by. A lot of drivers will be there, including yours truly. Sign autographs and say hello to the fans. And of course, the proceeds from the event goes to charities in the area.
And that's 51-year-old Morgan Shepherd, his first Busch Series start of 1993, back there in the white car number 21. Watching this pack 4 through 7. We might mention Joe Nemechek, who came down pit road a little bit ago, and the car was not performing well. He had a plug wire off. The defending series champion, Dick Kangas and crew, put the plug wire back on the Dentine Chevrolet, and he's back in the action.
Jerry, there's one driver that is really making a move up through the field. We talked about Earnhardt. How about Steve Grissom, who has come from the 33rd starting position? He's second in the Busch point standings going, as you talked about, at the top of the show, and he has come up to 10th place already. John Kernan, he's on the move.
Well, Ned, here's a crash. I'll get back to you. Crash, Ward Burton has crashed. Guys, you got a better look at it than I do.
Heavy impact up off turn 2. The car number 2, Ward Burton, and his Hardy Chevrolet. And boy, it has been a tough weekend for the A.G. Dillard.
Boy, it really has been, Jerry. Of course, he crashed twice yesterday. Early yesterday morning, didn't do a lot of damage. They worked all day on the car, got it ready to go again. Then the practice yesterday afternoon, crashed again. It looks like the left rear tire is flat on that car now. Now, I know he had a flat tire yesterday morning when he crashed, and I don't know if the tire went flat as a result of the crash, but it looks like that tire is flat there now.
Well, Freddie Fryer and crew will have their work cut up for him. Look again at what happened to Ward. He did a heck of a job to keep the car from going head-on into the wall as he loops it around and keeps it out of the concrete. But watch the traffic coming by.
Yeah, they were driving into smoke, couldn't see, and there a couple of cars went down. Then he came down the track, so the others went by up on the outside. They did a great job of driving around. He did a good job, as you say, of keeping it off the wall.
Remember, last week we saw Dale Earnhardt choose to go higher to the outside in the smoke when Kyle Petty spun, and Kyle spun right back up in front of him, and which put both those cars out of victory contention. And here is Ward Burton. Freddie Fryer and Cool are going to work on that car. Now, he said he cut a left front tire yesterday morning, and that car slammed the wall. Not this car, the one he ended up destroying. They fixed the car, came back out another practice section. He looped the car in the backstretch and literally destroyed the front of it. This was another car they rolled out of the truck yesterday, took one lap of practice, and put it in the field at the rear. They're on pit road. Here's Benny Parsons.
Jerry, they got a problem. They can't get the jack is up a little bit. Let the jack down. There we go. Now we got to let the jack down. They've lifted the car up. They finally got the jack under. They're changing tires. We see no damage to the car other than the fact the left rear tire is just absolutely in shreds. They're having a little trouble getting that tire on the axle house. They finally get it on the hub. It's being tightened. They look around to the right side. Everything looks fine. He leads.
And here come the leaders.
The leaders will come down pit road. Mark Martin will lead them down single file as we have 25 laps in the books now. Many of these drivers, when they could go about 60 laps, they'll come down and change some tires. Mark Martin's in-car camera. Actually, we're on the roof cam of the Winn-Dixie Ford Thunderbird, as Steve Mill and that crew will go to work and change tires.
Now, they can only change 2 tires during a caution without penalty, so most of them will change the right side tires this time, and they've changed others lately. Robert Presley has already made a good pit stop. He's out as we see them continue to work on Bill Elliott's car. Mark Martin, of course, is out as well, so it looks like they're going to come out in the same position they went in, and that was Mark Martin leading and Robert Presley second. Bill Elliott has lost a position to Terry Labonte. He gets out in 3rd place.
Pit road, a very, very busy place into this second caution flag of the day. Let's check in with John Kernan. John?
Well, you know, as good as Mark Martin has been running, he's been complaining to Steve Mill, the crew chief, that the car is just too tight. So they took out 2 big rounds of wedge on this pit stop to try and loosen Mark up. I mean, as good as he was running, it's kind of scary to imagine he can run any better.
As we have had pit stops during the second caution flag of the day, brought out by the spin of Ward Burton in the Hardee's Chevrolet. Back with more from Michigan after this. Stay with us.
In New Britain, Connecticut, people know how to make a home worth more.
The Hummels are doing a new deck.
Because New Britain is also the home of Stanley.
Frank is redoing his roof.
And nobody has more innovative ways to make a house more livable.
Liz is redoing her bathroom.
Or more valuable.
And the Sandowskis are redoing everything.
Ever wish you had a better house?
So, Arnold,
Why not get started on the one you've got?
what are we doing?
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. It gives your engine superior protection against wear, superior protection against heat and stress, superior cleaning power. Protect your car's engine with new advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
This is a new car. I'd be crazy not to use Quaker State.
In IndyCar racing, when it rains, we don't race on super speedways. But we're running this IndyCar on Goodyear Eagles to prove a point about wet traction, cornering, and stopping. What's the point? These are not Goodyear Racing Eagles. They're Eagle GSC street radials with dual tread design for outstanding traction in the dry and in the wet. Eagle GSC street radials, only from Goodyear. We like to say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
For the past couple of years, we've talked a great deal about camber, but primarily in the rear of the car. This time, we want to talk about camber in the front. Camber in the front is adjustable. Okay, once again, camber. When the top of the tire is out, that's positive camber. In, that's negative camber. Why would we want to change it? Because we want the tire to wear smoothly all the way across the surface of the tire. You do that by adjusting the camber. Okay, how do you do it? Let me show you. This is the upper control arm. These are the shims that go between the frame and the upper control arm. If you want negative camber, you add shims. If you want positive camber, you take the shims out, which lets this control arm go in and out. Now, you can see this control arm, there are different lengths, and every race car, there are different lengths. So how do the fellows figure out what they need? They put this jig on the race car. They bolt it on, they adjust the car the way they want it, they pull this back off, take it over to the bench, put it on this jig, and make an upper control arm. Every race car, the upper control arms are custom made to that car.
Well, an adjustment you can make on the race car. It looks very simple, but the one shim can make a big difference in how a car performs. Talking about performance, take a look at what's coming out your way tonight on ESPN. NFL preseason. The Super Bowl champion Cowboys face the silver and black attack of the Raiders. What a quarterback controversy they've got going on in L.A. Will it be the newly signed veteran Jeff Hostetler or the USC graduate Todd Marinovich? Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann will have all the action tonight, the NFL on ESPN at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And Steve Grissom has certainly made a move in a hurry toward the front. The Channel Lock Chevrolet. Look, he started back in 33rd spot, is now being shown in 7th. And what a move, John. He is coming in a hurry.
Yes, he is. You know, in qualifying, it was one of their typical stories. Brian Fraser, the crew chief, tells me they just didn't run that well, but once Steve got more and more laps out there on the racetrack. In fact, Steve told me this morning he was feeling a lot more confident. He said, we didn't really make any changes to the race car in practice yesterday. He said it was just driver changes, a little bit more confidence, driving a little bit deeper, and it looks like they're going to be in fine shape for the rest of this race.
Indeed, they should be as they get the green flag once again. Lap 30 of 100 comprising this 200-mile event. Mark Martin, you heard him talk about the adjustment they made to free the car up then. As Martin gets any quicker, it could be trouble.
Well, it could be because he was already pulling away a little bit from the field. Dale Earnhardt was one that lost a little bit on that round of pit stops, and one that really gained was the car number 8 of Jeff Burton, as we see Steve Grissom taking another position. I'll tell you, he's becoming a good property now. Some of these rides that Benny was talking about in NASCAR Racing Cup Racing, some of them should be taking a look, and I understand that a few of them are taking a look at this young man, and he should be impressing them right now. As he passes Ernie Irvin, here comes Earnhardt trying to make the pass as well. Bill Elliott down on the inside, Rick Wilson going with Earnhardt, so the scramble is on towards the front.
That's back in the second 10, 5th through 10th back there you're looking at now. We heard a couple of veteran Winston Cup car owners yesterday mention Steve Grissom's name prominently in the possible future plans they have, as now Earnhardt will take a look inside of Steve Grissom off of turn 2.
Bill Elliott down on the inside trying to make a move. Jeff Burton moved to the 8th car there. The Baker Ford moved from 19th position up to 8th on that pit stop. So his crew really did a job in the pits. Earnhardt lost several positions, which is unusual for him, but maybe they made an adjustment on his Chevrolet.
Good pit stop for Gil Martin and the Phil Martossi and people in that Baby Ruth team we're talking about for Jeff Burton in the car number 8. Now Jeff is up high. He's behind the car that had to make an unscheduled pit stop. That's Joe Nemechek in his N-Team Chevrolet. Bill Elliott in the car number 11. Behind him, Terry Labonte, the MW Windows Chevrolet. Then comes the Goodrich Chevy of Dale Earnhardt. And just getting by the car number 31 of Steve Grissom.
Now, Nemechek is being shown as 2 laps down, Jerry. We saw him coming into the pits earlier, and he lost a couple of laps. He's there running good. We see Todd Bodine in the back of that pack in the middle battle car. Of course, he's the defending champion of this race. And Todd Bodine goes on the inside of the car number 4 of Ernie Irvin, as Rick Wilson battles down on the inside as well. On the inside of the 8 car of Jeff Burton. Here's Earnhardt and Terry Labonte trying to move back up through the pack, and Darrell Waltrip, he's having problems today. We'd already seen him get lapped running slow, but it looks like the car might have completely quit now, Jerry.
Tough break for the Western Auto Chevrolet driver. Waltrip with 13 Busch Grand National wins and 91 starts in his career. He will take that car slowly on the apron back toward the garage area. The leader's now approaching him in a hurry. Average speed last time over 170.7 miles per hour for Mark Martin in the Winn-Dixie Ford Thunderbird. Martin, your leader. Robert Presley in second place. Now getting a look over Martin's shoulder inside that Jack Roush prepared machine. And behind him, a gaggle of cars. 3 wide. Now make it 4 wide in the tri-oval. As they settle it back, that is 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, along with about 4 or 5 other cars.
Boy, they're getting awfully close there. As we get back to Mark Martin, you can see he has a comfortable distance on Robert Presley. Bill Elliott now beginning to move in a little bit on Robert Presley, but getting back to that battle back there in the pack. There's Chad Little in the 23 car down on the inside, passing Ernie Irvin. Ernie's car just doesn't seem to be handling the way it needs to today. Look at him, he's going high. He's just, when he gets around traffic, the car does some crazy things. Here there are 4 press coming off of turn 4. Larry Pearson down on the inside.
The Mac Martin on Stanley Tools, car number 92 of Larry Pearson, the 2-time series champion. Showing you our field summary here, the top 5. Terry Labonte in 5th place. Looking back to this group here. And here comes a battle for second position as Bill Elliott now has caught Robert Presley and will go by him in turn 3 to take the second spot away. And Earnhardt is coming, and right behind Earnhardt, well, it's going to get busy.
Yes, it is. Terry Labonte following Earnhardt around as they've drafted together well and caught Robert Presley and Bill Elliott. Robert's car, either Elliott has picked up some since the pit stop, or Robert Presley's car not going quite as well. Because he had passed Elliott and pulled away from him before that pit stop. There are a couple of cars that looked like they might have been off the pace a little bit when they came by the last time, Jerry. The 92 car of Larry Pearson, I believe he's picked back up now, though, and the 8 car of Jeff Burton, who was running very low on the racetrack when he came by here. But you can see how far back those cars behind Mark Martin.
Mark Martin, who sat on the outside front row in qualifying. Elliott was the pole sitter with a new track record. That's a differential there. Budweiser Ford.
Oh, they're probably on the front straightaway as Larry Pearson and Tracy Leslie get together. Coming off of turn 4 between the start-finish line and turn 4.
Yeah, that was Chad Little in the car number 23. It looks like Larry Pearson's car. They're both painted identically, but that was Chad Little. And there is Tracy Leslie, what's left of the Detroit Gasket Chevrolet. That's the car that's owned by Ron Parker, who is the CEO and president of Indian Head Industries, and, of course, the parent company, Detroit Gasket. Tracy Leslie, the latest winner at Indianapolis Raceway Park, climbs out of the car. Let's check in with Benny Parsons.
Hey, guys, they came off the corner, one of those situations. Chad Little was on the outside. Tracy came off under him. Didn't realize that Chad was there. As he came off the corner, he started up next to the guardrail. And lo and behold, Chad Little was there. He caught Tracy Leslie in the right rear, turned him head on in the wall, and kind of pushed him out of the way. I can't see a lot of damage to Chad Little's car, although he has messed up the aerodynamics just a little bit. He probably will not be quite as good as he was beforehand. But we can see Tracy Leslie over looking at his car, trying to figure out how much damage he has. It's pretty considerable, I'll tell you.
And you can see he came back down across the track in front of a lot of other cars. Was fortunate in that respect that no one else hit him. He got it down on the grass and came to a stop out there and then walked away. Chad Little's car, there was quite a bit of damage to it as he went by on the right side, Benny, and we'll see he'll probably make a pit stop the next time around.
There's the 35-year-old Mount Clemens, Michigan driver Tracy Leslie walking back. None the worse for wear, but with a shorter race car. Back with more after this.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. It gives your engine superior protection against wear, superior protection against heat and stress, superior cleaning power. Protect your car's engine with new advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
This is a new car. I'd be crazy not to use Quaker State.
You bought a mobile home?
Today's manufactured home.
You bought a house!
Factory-built quality at a price that makes sense.
We have 3 big bedrooms. Oh, wow. I love it. It's a manufactured home.
Today's manufactured home.
You bought a house.
Built for living, built for life.
All siding companies are not alike. At Denver Gray Siding and Remodeling, our goals are quality, durability, and a job well done. Our quality work includes installing vinyl, steel, and aluminum siding, storm windows, and doors. All aluminum mosquito-free screen patio enclosures are custom built. Aluminum carports, canopies for your auto, RVs, and boats. All home improvements discounted 30%. Quality work you can depend on. For a free estimate, call Denver Gray Siding and Remodeling, 933-1557.
ESPN Sports Center highlight would go something like this. I'm on third. And on the first pitch, I go. I'm stealing home. Everyone's going crazy. My manager, the fans, and Patrick. But I'm stealing home. I'm in there. I'm home. And somewhere in Philly, my grandma has one of her spells. Yeah, that's my Sports Center highlight.
Back in Brooklyn, Michigan, under caution for the 3rd time today. They're pulling away what's left of the Detroit Gasket Chevrolet Lumina of Tracy Leslie, who just took a wild ride. And our John Kernan is with him. John?
Well, I just saw Tracy walking up pit road, and Tracy, it was a wild ride you took out there a couple weeks ago. You had a great ride at IRP. I know you were hoping for a strong run here today, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah, you know, we had an awful strong car. They dropped the green. We changed all 4 springs and changed the whole car around this morning. Just went completely opposite what we've been running. We didn't have a good qualifying run starting in the back. You know, after that first lap, I knew we had a car capable of running up front. We were just going to bide our time, take them one at a time. I just feel sorry, you know, Ron Parker sponsoring this race, Detroit Gasket, MGM Brake, DG Trim Products.
That Lumina was fast today. You know, I think we could have run up front. I was just going to bide my time. No, we come off the corner, and me and another car just come together.
Very disappointed Tracy Leslie walking back to the garage area. Let's go down to Benny Parsons.
Hey, guys, you see this tire? This is the left rear tire off of Ward Burton's Hardy Chevrolet. See, it was rubbing something, and the tire is flat. Now then, want me to show you what it was rubbing? It's the tread off the old tire. Remember when he blew the tire and spun back in turn two? Somehow, the tread off that tire jammed up inside the car. It made the other tire go flat. Wow, how this thing jammed up inside that car, I'll never know.
Boy, I tell you, anything can happen on a racetrack. Chad Little, his Bayer Select Ford, now back on pit road. That's the car that's owned by Washington Redskins quarterback Mark Rippon, along with Greg Pollux, the co-owner there. And he was one of the cars that was the victim of that incident a minute ago. And here are the pit stops that moments ago took place during this third caution flag today. Ned, everyone came to pit.
Yeah, all the leaders came down, excepting Morgan Shepherd. He didn't make a pit stop, but most everyone else did. And they took on left side tires this time. Remember, they changed right side tires the last time around. And Mark Martin, the first out again. This time, Bill Elliott, see the red car coming out. He comes out behind Mark Martin. And Steve Grissom lost a few positions there.
And our leader is the car number 21, the Dick Schultz prepared white and red numeral Ford Thunderbird of Morgan Shepherd, as we have 40 laps complete. 60 to go at Michigan. Back after this.
No, sir. I won't go in those woods. Trails are too tight, twisted. And they say some kind of crazy wolf roams in there. All I know is I hear howling noises all hours of the day and night.
Introducing the new Timberwolf 4x4 from Yamaha. When you're in a tight spot that screams for four-wheel drive, just cry wolf.
You hear that? That sound will curl your hair.
Fuel. It's got to be the best, especially when you fire up. It's got to provide efficient turnover. It's got to be lean and have some rare qualities. A WD brand steak from Winn-Dixie. It'll definitely get your motor racing. Oh, the car? It takes high test.
Oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram Extra Guard oil filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram Extra Guard. American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
This week on America's Game of the Week, the Braves continue to struggle to stay in contention in the NL West as they face the Reds. Tomorrow night, live on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
And just a half a lap ago, they waved the green flag, and the leader was the car number 21, but he's battling right now with the car number 5. Good run for Richard Lassiter out of Little Rock, Arkansas. As Lassiter now goes downstairs, his best qualifying effort ever. But you're watching Martin's view in the car number 60, and Ned Mark is coming, and so is Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, Earnhardt is mixing it up in there. He's going to try to get down on the inside as he comes to the start-finish line. They're 3 abreast as they head down into turn 1. Who's going to give?
Right behind them is Bill Elliott and Richard Lassiter. Earnhardt on the bottom of the racetrack in the Chevrolet. Martin by half a car length out of turn 2, and it's a drag race down the backstretch, 2,200 feet. It's Ford, Chevrolet, and Ford, and now the two Fords are nose to tail in a drag.
Well, Richard Lassiter backed off on the outside, which was a very smart thing to do. Here comes Robert Presley down on the inside. He wants to get back up front there again as he moves down on the inside of Bill Elliott. Lassiter's in the black 5, right behind the red car. Bill Elliott doing a great job here.
What a job Richard Lassiter is doing. Remember that violent rollover he had? Slid on his roof at almost 190 miles an hour in Talladega a few weeks ago. And to come back in here and run as well as he has, he broke his shoulder in Talladega. Had to miss the race at IRP because he couldn't move his right arm. But he's in the race car here. His best qualifying effort ever. Let's check in with John Kernan.
You know, Derry, I was talking with Richard Lassiter, and he said this morning that race car is probably the best handling race car he's ever had. He said that he can just pretty much put it little bit left, so he may not be showing his whole hand. Richard was just going to ride around, try and follow the leaders, get into that lead, keep staying in that lead pack, and have a good finish. He told me he would have something left for these guys at the end.
There's Chuck Bow down on the inside. He's doing a good job here today, but loses positions right now as some of them teamed up on the outside and got in a draft together and went around. Look at 5 abreast going into the turn. Now they single down into 3 and then 2 and now even into single file.
One of the reasons the fans love to come to Michigan, the turns are 73 feet wide, and they can certainly get it 4 and 5 wide here in the turns. One car smoking and slowing down is Ernie Irvin in the Kodak Fun Saver Chevrolet. As his car now slowing, it was his car that was flipped earlier by Johnny Vincent Jr. out of turn 2 to bring out the first caution flag. Back up front, the battle continues.
Of course, the 3 leaders have pulled away a little bit from this pack of cars. We see Rodney Combs down on the inside in the Ford number 1. His car is slowing down there for some reason.
And there's Mark Martin and Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott. Might think you're watching a Winston Cup race, but it's actually NASCAR Busch Grand National Series action. NASCAR's version of AAA ball. Very competitive, very exciting, and 3 veterans right now duking it out here on the High Bank 2-mile oval at Michigan.
And as they come off turn 4, Ernie Irvin has taken his car to the garage. We understand that it might be a valve spring or something. For more on that, let's go to the pits and John.
Ned, that's what they're thinking right now. The car just basically shut off, quit running, a big puff of smoke. I went up to Jay Smith, the crew chief. He just made the signal. The engine broke. He said it's possibly broken some valve springs. They're taking the car behind the wall in the garage area. They'll check it out.
Tough break for Ernie Irvin. He had 6 starts this year. His second at Charlotte, his best finish in Busch Series competition on the season.
And Bill Elliott slowing down in the Budweiser report. He was the pole sitter here. So the pace here may be beginning to take its toll, Jerry. Well, now Elliott has seemingly picked back up a little bit. I don't know. No, I don't think that thing is fully up to speed. He goes low into the turn once again, so we'll find out what his problem is as other cars go by through turns 1 and 2.
Our pit reporter to check in with Gene Roberts in the pits there. The Jim Ruggles engine not exactly performing up to par right now after sitting on the pole with a track record. As you said, Ned, here's a battle. Terry Labonte in the car number 14, the NW Windows Chevrolet, and the car we followed early on, Steve Grissom in the car number 31. But Morgan Shepherd drives it deep into turn 3 and pulls him by a car length.
Boy, he did. And Morgan didn't change tires. He didn't make a pit stop on that last caution, as the others did, and changed left side tires, but his Ford stuck when he took her into the turn.
Let's check in the pits where John Kernan is standing by with Gene Roberts. John?
Well, I was just talking to Bill on the radio, and it looks like a valve spring.
Yeah, he just radioed in. He said it's more than likely a valve spring. We really don't want to tear anything up and let these guys go race now.
Is that because you guys are turning a lot of RPMs out here?
Yeah, this long chute, this long straightaway chute here is kind of difficult on the motor. The other chute's not quite as long, but you really turn them up, getting your momentum up down through here, and you kind of have to, compromise it, and we just went over the edge there.
Guys, they were telling me some of the teams were turning as much as 8,400 to 8,500 RPM with one of these V6s. That's a lot.
Yeah, it really is, John Kernan, and Gene Roberts, he put it in perspective there. When you want to run up front, you gear that thing low, but you're taking that chance of over-revving it. When you get in the draft, you are subject to pick up RPMs, and that just puts that much more strain on the engines, and usually the valve spring is the first thing to go when you over-rev it.
Nothing against Jim Ruggles, the engine builder, but no one can build them and withstand some of those RPMs. You have to turn at times here at speeds over 185 miles an hour. Back up front here is Robert Presley in the car number 59. As they will come around next time and take the 50-lap signal halfway, 100 miles down, 100 to go. It has been a Mark Martin show. Winn-Dixie Ford Thunderbird. A couple of cars drafting by back in the package. Ricky Craven in the car number 99 and Chuck Sprague.
Jack Sprague in the car number 74 down on the inside, going into the turn, a very brightly painted car. Car number 74 is the Staff America Chevrolet. Now he gets in line. There's Jeff Burton really moving around back there in the Baker Ruth Ford, trying to position himself.
Jack Sprague driving the Bill Bumgarner-owned car, number 74. His first full year in Busch Series competition. That was Joe Nemechek in the car, number 87, and Sterling Marlin driving the Fred Turner-owned Capio Ice Cappuccino's car. Back up front, Martin Martin is the man they're chasing, and they've just passed a halfway point, and Martin trying to hold on to pick up win number 3 in 1993 in Busch Grand National Series racing action. Back with more from Michigan after this.
Imagine this is a sidewall of a tire. The whole idea is to keep the tread area in level contact with the road, or you'll lose traction, especially in cornering. Now, Goodyear has learned a lot in NASCAR racing and applied that knowledge to Eagle's street radials. In cornering, there's a lot of force trying to lift the tire, but Goodyear Eagle's racing-inspired sidewall design works to hold the tire firmly to the road. Eagle radials, only from Goodyear. We like to say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. It gives your engine superior protection against wear, superior protection against heat and stress, superior cleaning power. Protect your car's engine with new advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
This is a new car. I'd be crazy not to use Quaker State.
In New Britain, Connecticut, people don't need a Wall Street genius to tell them where to put their money. After all, New Britain's the home for Stanley. And even a modest investment in Stanley tools, painting equipment, doors, and hardware can pay handsome dividends down the road. So before you sink a nickel in municipal bonds or soybean futures, how about a new Stanley garage door?
And you're watching 34-year-old Batesville, Arkansas driver Mark Martin. Looks like he's having a nice little Sunday drive or a Saturday drive as he is pulled away and continues to lead. But just behind him, here's the battle. Goodrich Chevrolet, Dale Earnhardt. Behind him, One Food Country USA Chevy for Rick Wilson. And behind them is the car number 59 of Robert Presley. They are second, third, and fourth, and they had a little bit of smoke out of the 75.
Yeah, we've seen, particularly down in turns 1 and 2, we've seen a little bit of smoke from that car. I don't know if it's tire smoke or what it might be. It doesn't seem to affect him as far as his running ability is concerned. But there has been a few puffs of smoke from that Food Country entry.
And we mentioned the point battle, how tight it was at the top of the show. Well, the point leader, David Green, is exactly 1/2 a lap behind. He's on the lead lap, and there's the Slim Jim Chevrolet. Car number 44, the car that's owned by former Busch Series champion Bobby Labonte. David Green in the car number 44, currently being shown back in the 24th position.
Boy, if it should finish the way that it's running right now, he would lose a lot of points. He'd lose the point lead, as a matter of fact, to Steve Grissom, who is being shown in 7th position.
And we'll let him pass through. We'll show you the leaders as they come up within a half a lap. Yeah, that would totally scramble the top 10 in points, at least the top 5. We've already had problems for Ward Burton. His car spun and tagged the wall and has had to go back out, so he's had problems. As you see our leader now coming into the picture, that's Mark Martin.
Well, he has a lot of daylight in front of him, Jerry, at least a third of the racetrack. Shauna Robinson just made a pit stop. She's coming out, and she's down low on the track coming out of turn 2, but she's the next car, and she's way out in front of Mark Martin, so he has nothing but clear sailing out there.
That's Dale Earnhardt in second position, the winningest driver in Busch Series competition on a super speedway. Earnhardt has 17 career wins in Busch competition on a speedway. Behind him is Rick Wilson, 2 Busch Series victories to his credit. A minute ago, the 75 car, the Food Country USA car of Charlie Henderson, has been smoking a little bit. Benny, you found out what the problem might be?
Jerry, I talked to Chris Jerry, the crew chief on the Food Country car, asked him what the smoke was. He said the car's a little bit tight, and they think it's tire smoke. But I tell you what, I don't see these radials smoke very much on these cars, so I don't know. But that's their opinion, is they got some tire smoke, and they're going to adjust and loosen the car up a little bit on the next caution flag, and they think that's going to cure the problem. We'll see.
Well, Benny, it could very well be tire smoke, but that last time we had a close-up on him going around that turn, and just at one particular part of the turn, you could see more smoke than at any other time. I believe that when he gets to that point of the turn, that there's something rubbing just a little bit on that car. and causing that tire smoke.
And whatever the smoke is, he's holding on within a half a car length or maybe a couple of car lengths behind Dale Earnhardt. We take a look at our AutoZone race summary. Mark Martin, our leader, has led 47 of 55 laps. There have been 3 cautions for 12 laps, 3 different leaders, 5 lead changes, and the average speed 125.772 miles per hour. Lap leaders, Mark Martin, Bill Elliott, and Morgan Shepherd led for 3 laps. And here are the drivers out of the race. The latest to go behind the wall, Chad Little in the car number 23. They put that car behind the wall. The Mark Rippon machine with some sheet metal damage due to an incident earlier with Tracy Leslie. And Richard Lassiter had such a good qualifying effort and such a good run early on. Took the lead at one point in turn 3 on the restart. Apparently his day may go up in smoke as big plume of smoke coming from beneath that High Point Betting Chevrolet as he keeps the car up very, very high. And as yet, there is no caution flag being shown from the flag stand.
And Jerry, he wanted to get down into the pits, to the entrance of the pits, but he couldn't do it. He was high on the racetrack, and cars kept coming by him on the low side, and he simply couldn't get it down there. Now, if he has lost power, which it looks like he has, he isn't going to be able to get back around. Don't know what he'll do with him once he coasts out through here, as we see several cars coming up on him, but he's out of harm's way down there now, still rolling. But let's see if he turns backwards into the pits. The NASCAR official is motioning him to do that. I don't think that they see him, that the driver sees the NASCAR official, so he's now pulled it off down there. Yes, and now he's coming back. Apparently the crew told him by radios, just turn or left. Come on back down pit road this way. We aren't going anywhere anyway.
And a very heads-up move there by Richard Lassiter. He could have tried to get on the pit road, but he possibly would have pulled down in front of some fast cars and created quite a bottleneck there coming out of turn 4. He kept the car up high and waited till the track was free and then turned it down pit road. A tough break for the Little Rock, Arkansas driver after a tremendous comeback from severe circumstances at Talladega. Showing 60 laps in the books here, 40 to go, and the second annual Detroit Gasket.
And another car going out, the Shauna Robinson entry. I said the captive is the Polaroid Chevrolet, that they have a new film or something, Jerry. That
Captiva.
Captiva, yeah, the camera.
That's the new camera that develops the film, that the pictures inside. Develops them inside, shoots them out, and Shauna from Des Moines, Iowa. And boy, what a tough couple weeks she's had. She was at IRP a couple weeks ago when she was informed that her father, Richard Lefty Robinson, had passed away after he had a stroke about a year ago. And she had to make a very difficult decision. As you know, Lefty sponsored her and supported her racing career, and she went on to race and collected her best finish of the year at 12th at IRP. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Jerry, we've had about 20-some laps of green flag racing. Things have appeared to settle down. If it continues to go green, some of the top cars, in fact, the top 2, say that they would have to pit for fuel about 10 laps from the end. They've run a total of about 62, 63 laps, 60 of which would be under caution, and that would be beyond their fuel window. So Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt, both looking to have to stop with 10 laps to go if the race remains green.
John, are there some that can make it, you think?
Well, I've heard some talk. I haven't had a chance to survey everybody on pit road, but several teams had said upwards of 62 laps, but that was pushing it. The figure that I heard most commonly among most of those teams the last couple of days was between 55 and 58 laps.
John, the car number 75 has Chris Carrier as a crew chief. Now, Chris Carrier used to work with Harry Gant's Ed Whitaker's team back when they got excellent gas mileage. And Chris said, I think I might be able to get 65 laps out of this thing. He told me yesterday, so if he can do it, he might be able just to snatch a win here in Michigan on fuel mileage. But we've seen that happen before.
I tell you what, Jerry, I'll walk down there and talk to Chris.
Benny?
Guys, I talked to Chris Carrier. He said it's going to be close, and he put his finger, his thumb, his forefinger almost together. He said, but I really think we can make it. They think they can make it on the floor. They're hoping that the caution flag does not come out. I think they're going to gamble on this little baby.
Once again, Chris Carrier is the crew chief for the car number 75. Charlie Henderson owns the car. Rick Wilson is the driver of the Food Country, which is currently smoking. Here's the car number 27, the agency rent-a-car Chevrolet for Roy Payne, former ARCA Rookie of the Year. Had a good run here in the past at ARCA, finished second here to Dave Mader, but now his day is coming up short. And I'm sure that the car number 75, Rick Wilson, does not want to see a caution flag come out then.
Well, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it. He's coasting awfully slow. He's almost to the pit entrance, but he's almost stopped, too, so I don't know if he can make it or not. He's still rolling. He might be able to get back without a caution.
25-year-old Roy Payne, one of the rookie drivers this year in Busch Series competition, trying to get that car owned by his dad, Curtis, back toward pit road so that crew chief Donnie Allison, the crew chief on that car as of the past 3 weeks, can get a chance to work on it. He has now made his turn off the racetrack and is headed back down pit road, almost to the edge of the pit wall. So a tough break for the agency rent-a-car team there and Roy Payne.
And as he's coasting in, Shauna Robinson, whatever her problem was, she got it fixed and going back out on the racetrack.
Shauna, of course, driving for Mike Laughlin, the car builder out of Greenville, South Carolina.
Still 26 cars in the lead lap.
And Mark Martin, just where he was at the very beginning of this afternoon, leading the way here as we show 66 laps in the books, and caution now being shown to the field. Back with more after this. Stay with us.
You know, working at AutoZone is more than looking up parts or ringing up sales. Most of all, it's listening. Because my customers know more about their cars than I'll ever know. They know every rattle by heart. I mean, that car is their baby. So when they've got a problem they're going to fix for themselves, I'm going to do my best to help them get whatever they need, no matter what it takes. Because people like that, they don't deserve anything less than the best I can give them.
At Catfish Express, we're going to feed you right. We now have available to our dining room customers the free appetizer bar with our full dinner menu. Enjoy white beans, seafood gumbo, nachos and dips, and other favorites. You'll love our catfish fillets, chicken strips, fried shrimp, country fried steak, and sandwiches. And if you can't come to us, we'll come to you. Just call 935-FISH. That's 935-3474 for our meals delivered fresh and hot. Try us at Catfish Express on Caraway Road next to Lowe's.
Prescription Lens Masters, 320 South Church downtown, has been serving Jonesboro for 2 years with fast service, quality, and reasonable prices. Their on-site lab can fill your prescription while you wait. Licensed opticians Sam, Arlene, and Timmy are there to help you with your prescription. Also, check the fantastic selection of eyeglass frames to fit your needs and budget. Quality, fast service, and reasonable prices, you get it all at Prescription Lens Masters, 320 South Church, downtown Jonesboro.
Sacks are back. The bombs are back. The blitz is back. The NFL is back on ESPN. The Raiders battle the Cowboys on an ESPN NFL preseason special. Last season, they took it all. And now the Super Bowl champion Cowboys look invincible again. But the silver and black attack of the Raiders will try to cut them down to size. Tonight, live on ESPN.
Back in Michigan under caution for the 4th time today. Everyone on pit road. Here's Benny Parsons.
We see the 44 pit board. That's Rick Wilson's Winston Cup pit board. The Boot Country cars. We have 3 cars making pit stops. We're watching. I'm in the 75 pit. They're making a chance up on
Mark Martin's already got right side tires. Dale Earnhardt is fitted farther down pit road. He'll also take on right tires. Rick Wilson, as he headed down pit road, and also Vinny and Robert Preston have a pretty good stop up your way.
Robert Preston had a great pit stop. He's out and away. The 75 car had a great right side pit stop, and he's out. We also made a chassis adjustment on the 75 car. The NASCAR officials all in the pits, watching the pits, trying to see some oil on the racetrack to see if the 75 car might be losing some oil. Guys, I don't see a thing in this pit.
Well, I really don't think it was oil that was coming out, causing that smoke to come from his car.
Looked like when the body shifted over in the turn, Ned, the car began to smoke a little bit. That's as Casey Elliott's car number 94. Remember Casey making his first start in Busch Series competition.
He's being held here, Jerry. He tried to race Mark Martin back to the line to get back in the lead lap. He didn't quite make it. I was looking down on it, and he just simply didn't quite make it. And so they're just taking the lap away that he gained there by racing back to the line. It's not a penalty. It's just that they're taking that lap away.
Casey, the son of Ernie Elliott, the nephew of Bill. This is a car they've actually traded Jerry Glanville for, the Atlanta Falcons head coach. And Jerry Glanville had raced this car a couple times this year in Busch Series competition, so they had this car for Casey Elliott, who had a good qualifying run, and now will be put back in his proper lap as the field now comes by, and you will see the pace car come by. Casey Elliott here momentarily parked. There he is at the start-finish line. Under caution for the 4th time today at Michigan International Speedway. Back after this.
Strickland test the McDonald's car. Hey, guys, what keeps Huck going?
McDonald's coffee, Jack. Huck loves the stuff.
McDonald's coffee, really?
Yep. Huck loves those sausage biscuits, too. What? He says they're only 79 cents.
Hey, he's pulling off.
Yeah, he's out of coffee.
What you want is what
You want a sausage biscuit or anything?
at McDonald's today.
You've seen it before. The ones who run with the herd, and the one who always seems to run alone. You don't see him often enough, though.
Speed World coverage being brought to you by Smooth, Busch Beer, and easy drinking, Busch Light. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR. And by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. Now there's Mark Martin's in-car camera. Moments ago, young Casey Elliott, here he is in the Bosch Ford Thunderbird. His first Busch start, trying to beat Martin back to the line. Watch the white car. He doesn't quite do it by about 6 inches. And that's why he was being held. And John Kerner, what are they saying down in the pits about the job this young Elliott driver is doing?
Jerry, they can't be more pleased. In fact, a lot of the people from down in the Georgia area have known Casey since he was in diapers have all said he reminds them so much of his Uncle Bill that they expect him to, if he sticks with it, to be just as good a driver one day as Bill Elliott is. They say that his temperament matches Bill's. He's very patient. He doesn't go out and take a lot of chances, and he drives a very smart race, so they expect him to do quite well. In fact, yesterday, Bill took him out on the racetrack. Now, Casey had never been here before to run. Bill took him out and did some practice laps, and Jerry, it was something to watch. I know you witnessed that.
Oh, he looked like he was picking his pocket. He told Casey, he said, you stay in this line, I'm going to go high, above you, below you, behind you. It looked like he was just trying to pick his pocket as he was all around that car number 94, trying to give him an idea of what the car would feel like in the draft. Casey Elliott, 1 lap down, being shown back in 25th position. Back with more Busch Series Grand National Racing from Michigan International Speedway after this.
3 reasons not to buy BF Goodrich TA tires. Being the center of attention makes you uncomfortable. You think a Little Deuce Coupe is a place where tiny chickens are kept. You think Lug Nuts is a high-fiber cereal. BF Goodrich TA tires when you're ready to get serious.
When 280 seemed out of reach, it's Joe Amato and Autolite who punch it. The wall goes to 290. Connie Coletta and Autolite smash it. 300, the barrier. Kenny Bernstein and Autolite shatter it. Autolite and the record breakers. We feel pretty good about that.
Remember those old dirt tracks, AJ? The dirt would just heat up the engines.
2 champions sharing a winning formula. Haviland Formula 3.
My favorite win was going to be in '69, and I had to give it to you. You shouldn't have even made a half a lap.
Complete professionals who rely on the same complete protection you can buy right off the shelf. Haviland Formula 3 motor oil from Texaco.
Heck, I still feel if I can't win, I don't want nobody to win. I'll try to remember that, AJ. Do that.
The Grand Prix of Hungary on ESPN. Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna have left the rest of the Formula One field starving for a win. Can their appetites be satisfied at the Grand Prix of Hungary? Tomorrow morning, live on ESPN.
we get set for green flag racing action. The Pontiac safety car pulls away, as does Mark Martin. Green flag being waved once again by Carl Simmons and Mike Harwood atop the flag stand. 72 laps in the books, 28 to go with this 200-mile, 100-lap event here at Michigan.
Robert Preston came out in second place on that round of pit stops, Jerry. Now, one driver who gained a lot on that round of pit stops was Tim Steele, who's driving the Davey Allison Racing Ford number 28, the Matt Gold Havoline car. He was 20th when he came in. Now he's 11th. And here he comes into car number 28 as Rodney Combs goes back down the inside, making it 3 abreast going into the turn, and he spins. He gets tapped. Tim Steele in the Davey Allison car got tapped in that bunch of cars running together and spins around, hits the outside wall, and here's, was it the car number 1 of Rodney Combs up there? This car is white. That was up ahead of him, and he spun as well, so the caution is out again.
And once again, the caution flag flies. Here is the car number 8, the Baby Ruth Ford Thunderbird. That is Jeff Burton. So the younger brother of Ward is not the car number 1 of Rodney Combs. It was making a move there on the restart. Once again, here's the car number 28 being sandwiched between 2 cars.
And I think it maybe just got touched a little bit, Jerry, and it doesn't take much. And there's the 8 car of Jeff Burton spinning around up on the outside. Boy, he almost got hit by some other cars coming around there. Both of them were really fortunate, as heavy as the traffic was, to not get banged when they were spinning around.
25-year-old Tim Steele from Coopersville, Michigan, just 2 hours west of here. Heavy impact into the wall. Now, Benny Parsons is standing by in the pits there watching what's going on with Jeff Burton. BP?
What we see right now, Jerry, is trying to beat the fender out so when they put the tire on, it will not be rubbing the tire. They don't have to come back in. We do see some damage to the car. We know they've got some of the steering is bent. They'll have to come in, probably adjust the toe in, but they're trying desperately to stay in the lead lap. They haven't lost a lap, and away he goes. I thought he was going to roll me there for a minute. And look, the left front tire is pointing towards the east. The car's going south.
And that's not good. No. We talked about the point standings. I mean, take a look at, we've mentioned that Ward Burton has had trouble with the wall. Joe Nemechek has had problems. Jeff Burton now on pit road. And there's Tim Steele, thankfully. Red Farmer and the crew down there in Birmingham, Alabama, and Hueytown build them awfully safe, as they did for many, many years for the late Davey Allison. And Tim Steele will climb out of the car. Once again, Ned, here's what happened.
And that is the car number 1 of Rodney Combs down on the inside, and he clips. I think Davey might have got up into the other car, and here comes the 8 car. That's how he got into it, as the 28 car went up into Jeff Burton and or into Tim Steele, and that's how the 8 car spun around up in front of him.
And the car number 28 sits up there. They are required by the NASCAR sanctioning body to take a mandatory ride to the infield care center. It's a very good rule. I applaud that to be checked out as Tim Steele climbs in there. Let's check in with Benny Parsons.
Ned, you did the same thing I did, didn't you, buddy? You see that 28 car, and right away you think of Davey Allison. This time it's Tim Steele. Last week it was Lake Speed. I called him Davey Allison. How long you reckon we'll do that, Ned?
I don't know. I said the Davey Allison car. I meant the Davey Allison Racing owned car.
Oh, you knew Tim Steele was in it?
Yeah, I knew Tim Steele was in the car.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought last week I put Davey Allison right in that car again.
Well, I'll tell you, we'll probably all make that mistake a lot. And I'll tell you, when he crawled out of that car, Tim Steele is about the same size of Davey Allison, and in that uniform, he looks a whole lot like him.
And we all indeed wish it was Davey Allison. We'd love to have Davey in this event today. Tim Steele, we are told, will drive 7 more events in that car that's prepared by Red Farmer. They're out of Hueytown, Alabama. As we're under caution for the 5th time today, remember, coming up following our telecast, Speed Week with Bob Jenkins and all the motorsports coverage from around the world. Coming up at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Speed Week with Bob Jenkins, and we'll keep you up to date on what's happening on Tires and Wheels around the world. Back with more from Michigan after this. Stay with us.
The Suzuki Katana 600, easily identified flying object.
You know, working at AutoZone is more than looking up parts or ringing up sales. Most of all, it's listening. Because my customers know more about their cars than I'll ever know. They know every rattle by heart. I mean, that car is their baby. So when they've got a problem they're going to fix for themselves, I'm going to do my best to help them get whatever they need, no matter what it takes. Because people like that, they don't deserve anything less than the best I can give them.
In America, your car doesn't just get you from here to there. It's a part of your life. To give your car complete protection, Texaco has developed Haviland Formula 3 motor oil. With not one, but 3 kinds of protection against heat stress, starting friction, and engine dirt. Haviland Formula 3. Add more life to your car.
Off the road. On the road. The Suzuki Dual Sport 350S. It's a vicious cycle.
We welcome you back to Brooklyn, Michigan. Benny Parsons, John Kernan, Ned Jarrett, and yours truly, Jerry Punch, bringing you live coverage of the second annual Detroit Gasket 200 NASCAR Busch Grand National Series event. Beautiful day here in Michigan. Of course, a lot of racing action to come this weekend. We'll have Winston Cup action tomorrow, coming up at 12:30 Eastern Time. Can Harry Gant do it again on gas mileage? What about Ricky Rudd, who won here back in June? 12:30 p.m. live flag-to-flag coverage. The 24th champion Spark Plug 400. And what a front row. Ken Schrader on the pole with a new track record as 12 cars broke the old track record in qualifying. And beside him, Lake Speed in the Texaco Haviland Ford. That's all tomorrow. Let's check in now with Benny Parsons.
Hey, guys, want to play softball? I got me a softball bat. What's a softball bat doing in the pits? This is how they roll the fender off the tires. Ward Burton just came in, the Hardee's Chevrolet, put this under the fender against the tire. The car rolled. They pushed the fender out and away from the tire. Pretty handy, too. If you get bored, get the race car ready to go, you can play softball.
Now, I've seen Benny set softball games down at the Sarah Lee NASCAR deal, and but Jerry, I don't believe that bat would work too good on this car. Too much sheet metal damage.
I don't believe the bat's going to help that one too much. They're going to take it back to Hueytown and have Red Farmer and the guys work on it. And indeed, every time we see the car number 28 up there, we begin to think of Davey Allison and what a very difficult loss that was to motorsports. When we come back, we'll have green flag as Mark Martin has dominated the first part of this race, 68 of 76 laps. Back with more after this.
Remember those old dirt tracks, AJ? The dirt would just eat up the engines.
2 champions sharing a winning formula. Haviland Formula 3.
My favorite win was going to be in 69. I had to give it to you. You shouldn't have even made a half a lap.
Complete professionals who rely on the same complete protection you can buy right off the shelf. Haviland Formula 3 motor oil from Texaco.
Heck, I still feel if I can't win, I don't want nobody to win. I'll try to remember that, AJ. Do that.
The Suzuki GSXRs. First, they win more road races than any production motorcycle in history. Then, we put a license plate on them. The new liquid-cooled GSXRs, now available in 600, 750, and 1100 octane.
Win ESPN's NFL 12th Man Contest, and you get to sit right here for all your favorite teams' away games. Great seats for you and 3 of your buddies. And the 12th man flies first class to all 8 away games, stays in team hotels, and gets $25,000. And this guy up here, he's the 57,460th man. He gets Ice Train. ESPN's NFL 12th Man Contest, sponsored by McDonald's and Lee Jeans. Enter to win. Call 1-900-2884-NFL. 95 cents per call, no phone call necessary. Enter now.
And back at Michigan, some fans came all the way from Buffalo to be on ESPN. Thank you very much for the hello, and to Bob Benny and myself. But remember, we do have another member, John Kernan. John is part of our team, so put another steak on, and all of us will be down when it's over. Benny, stay put. A few laps to go, then you can eat your steak. Back to green flag racing has Mark Martin on lap 79, leads him, and it's going to get dicey here in the last lap.
Yeah, there's only 22 laps to go now, Jerry, so yes, they're going to really get racy here now. They don't have any other pit stops to make, and it'll be tight.
Mark Martin leading him off turn 2. Now single foul behind him. Looking for his 3rd win of the year would be Robert Presley, but they're too wide back in the pack. Chuck Bowden in the car number 63 beginning to move in there. There's Larry Pearson. Behind him is the 48 of Sterling Marlin. Couple of cars side by side. Car number 74, Jack Sprague, and inside him is Chuck Bowden.
Jeff, of course, a former champion of this division. Hasn't had the kind of year that he and the Hensley team thought he would have. But nevertheless, running pretty strong here today. Currently being shown in the 12th position.
And Steve Grissom, you just got a glimpse of, he's the blue car to the right side of your picture. That's the Gadsden, Alabama driver. A young man who passed up a possible promising career in college football as an offensive lineman at either Alabama or Auburn. Said, nope, I know I could play ball. I would like to play ball, but I want to drive a race car. So the youngster has certainly been impressive. Now battle heats up for second spot as Earnhardt goes high and Robert Presley slips back to third as they head for the start-finish line.
And, Jerry, we have a good mix of Winston Cup and Busch Series drivers. A little more Winston Cup in this picture we're seeing right here, and Robert Presley is the first of the Busch Series drivers. And then comes Steve Grissom as we saw Tommy Houston's car going slow down on the inside. But a year ago, as we said, Todd Bodine won this race, and many felt that opened the door for him to get a full-time Winston Cup ride. And he does now have that with the Butch Mock Racing team. And Robert Presley would like to, well, in fact, he's been a real hot property. His name has been mentioned a lot. And we have reason to believe that he will be in a Winston Cup car next year.
A lot of owners in the garage area have been fighting over who's going to get Robert Presley, and likewise with Steve Grissom as the cars now move down off the banking, trying to, well, they play a little draft tag there?
Yeah, I guess. They're having a tough time. They're drafting, but there's Chad Little slowing. Or no, that's the car number 25, Hermie Sadler.
Leading Rookie of the Year contender in the Virginia is for Lovers car. That's the Don Beverly-owned machine. Hermie having his best finish at Milwaukee earlier in the year. He finished third. Apparently, engine has gone south on his car, and the University of North Carolina graduate will pull that car onto an apron in the backstretch, so we will not see a caution flag.
Yeah, he had the presence of mind to pull it off the track, let him go racing. He knew his racing day was over.
Here's 14th, 15th, and 16th. Ken Schrader in the car number 52 back there. Behind him is Chuck Bound as they dice it for third place. Robert Presley trying to make a move on Rick Wilson. Earnhardt, the car number 3, is second. The car number 75, Rick Wilson, is third. Then fourth is Robert Presley. Fifth, the car number 14, that's Terry Labonte.
And, Jerry, there are 21 cars still on the lead lap, and they are racing for positions on every part of the racetrack where those cars are, and knowing that the race is winding down, and so everybody trying to pick up as many positions as they can.
Less than 20 laps to go. In fact, this time by, it will be 17 laps remaining in this Busch Series event, 200 miles here at Michigan International Speedway. Glad to have you with us for our live coverage. Rick Wilson currently third. He started fourth. Is up as high as second. And back to as low as 14th. Has not led a lap. He has 2 Busch Series wins to his credit. And Terry Labonte trying to make a move beneath Robert Presley. Can't quite get the muscle to make the move as Presley is in the car number 59, and behind him, Steve Grissom in another Chevrolet as they are now door to door.
And when Steve Grissom jumped up there behind Presley, they had the high side, had the momentum coming off of that turn, and Terry Labonte, who almost had that position, which was fourth, couldn't quite do it. Now he drops back to sixth.
Single file still. Mark Martin is your leader. That is Mark coming at you in the Windex C4. Then about 7 car lengths back to Earnhardt and Rick Wilson. And you riding along now with our leader, 34-year-old Batesville, Arkansas driver, Mark Martin, the Windex C4.
He has nothing but daylight in front of him, racetrack and daylight, because it's more than a half a lap to another race car. He shouldn't even have to deal with anyone excepting the cars behind him, and so far he hasn't had to deal too much with them.
Mark Martin has led 76 of 84 laps. He has dominated here.
And even though he didn't qualify too well for tomorrow's race, Jerry, everybody is pointing to him as being the favorite in the Jackie Spark Plug 400 tomorrow. He qualified in 12th position, but they think that he's really going to be the car to beat tomorrow.
And last year's winner, that's Todd Bodine in the Fiddle Faddle Chevrolet. He's beginning to make a move. Bodine qualified his car back in 17th for this race. He qualified 12th a year ago and won it, so he's beginning to purr a little bit. Behind him, Ricky Craven in the car number 99 also coming.
Craven in the DuPont sponsored automobile, doing a good job of drafting Todd Bodine, and that's the smart thing for them to do, is to stay in single file and try to catch up with that group of cars in front of them. They're about a little over a second behind the running packed cars.
And Todd Bodine qualified 6th for tomorrow's race. The Factory Stores Ford, the Raymont Racing efforts. Good qualifying effort for Todd Bodine. He will start 6th outside row 3 in the Champion Spark Plug 400 tomorrow. So certainly knows this racetrack. And the rumor is that possibly Mike McLaughlin will go in this car here next year when Todd Bodine is full-time in Winston Cup and the former Modified Series champion. Will be able to get this CC in well of a ride with Clyde McLeod as the crew chief.
Jerry, as these cars come off the turn 4, the Burton brothers not having a good day here. We've already documented some of the things about Ward Burton. He's going out of the pits here right now, down on the inside of the racetrack there. But his brother, Jeff Burton, has been in the pits since that last caution, has lost a lot of laps. They continue to work on the Baker Ruth 4, so the Burton brothers not having a good day at Michigan.
Back in 15th and 16th spot, the car number 7, that is Harry Gant, and behind him, the car number 1, that is the effort of Rodney Combs. Rodney Combs driving the car number 1, running the entire year in the Rodney Rexroad Joey N. Galliano machine. And there's the French's Mustard Ed Whitaker on machine. As we show you, Harry Gant started way back in 40th position and worked his way to 16th spot, was up as high as 14th. He has not led a lap. Harry Gant currently tied with Dale Earnhardt as the second most winning active driver in Busch Series competition. Gant has 20 career Busch Series wins, so does Earnhardt. You know who has the most Busch Series wins as an active driver, Ned? Well, Hickory, North Carolina. Tommy Houston.
Really? Good.
Tommy has 24 wins and is the winningest active driver in the series.
And Tommy's son won his first Winston Series race last night, 200-lapper at Tri-County Speedway.
Andy Houston won a 200-lapper up there in Hudson, North Carolina. So Tommy was, I think, more excited about Andy winning last night than he was in running a good race here today. So our congratulations to Andy Houston.
I think the Houston brothers, the Houston name's going to be around for a long time because Marty Houston is running regularly at the Hickory Speedway and Tri-County Speedway, and they're both up in the points at the Hickory Speedway. So I think we're going to see those guys around for a long, long time doing a great job.
Average speed close to the record, 124.037, a record a little over 125.4, so they're moving in on it, even though we've had 5 caution flags.
Rick Wilson continues to follow Dale Earnhardt. They just can't work together and catch Mark Martin. As a matter of fact, he's pulling away a little bit now, Jerry.
Indeed, Mark Martin, what a job. You've got to give a call to Jack Roush and the crew. Edgar Aylman is the Jack Roush member of that team who builds those very, very potent Ford V6s. Bobby Leslie is the crew chief on that car. Steve Neal actually calling the shots in the pits today, but what a job they have done in this Busch Series operation to bring that V6 from something that was full of trouble. One car has slammed the wall down in turn 1. A lot of smoke coming from beneath that car.
Is that Morgan?
Looks like Morgan Shepherd.
It's a white car, and we see a 2 on the top of it.
It is the Thunderbird from Conover, North Carolina's Morgan Shepherd, the Dick Schultz prepared car.
He was in 12th position. He had led the race at one time, as a matter of fact, as they raced back to the line. Mark Martin didn't want to see this caution because he pulled himself out to a good lead as Morgan's car comes down off the banking now, down on the inside of the track. You can see he's driving it back to the pits the wrong way.
And here's Morgan Shepherd coming back. This is Morgan's first Busch Series start. Talk about young drivers. Morgan had tabbed possibly Dennis Setzer to drive his car some this year in Busch Series competition, and I think Dennis drove the car at Charlotte and was looking to possibly drive this car in the future. Dennis Setzer, who runs regularly Hickory Speedway for Bob Friedman and Benny Yunt. Here again, what happened to Morgan Shepherd a minute ago as the car headed for turn 1.
And it looks like that Sterling Marlin, I believe, in the car number 48, maybe gave him just a little bit of a tap and spinned Morgan to the outside of the racetrack, and he hugged the wall, just grinding away up there, staying out of the way of the other traffic at least, but doing a lot of damage to Morgan's Ford.
Good move by Larry Pearson in the car number 92, the Mac Martin on Stanley Tools car. Pearson looked to have nowhere to go, made a hard left turn, got on the brakes, and was able to avoid the spinning car of Morgan Shepherd. 6 caution flag today, so you can throw that record speed out the window because it won't happen today. Todd Bodine's record of over 125.4 will stand for another year. And here's Dale Earnhardt pulling right up alongside the leader, looking over at Mark, let him know I'm back there.
Yeah, he says, I'm here now, caught up to you. The caution has come out. He wasn't going to catch him, but the caution didn't come out unless something happened to the number 60 of Mark Martin. Here's Morgan Shepherd getting out of his car.
Morgan trying to get his helmet off and catch his breath. Our Benny Parsons caught up with him, and the car has been shortened significantly, BP.
Yeah, it sure has, Jerry. There's heavy, heavy damage to the left rear of this car, and Morgan said, well, what the heck, it's already junked. I might as well drive it back to the pits. Morgan, you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay, Benny. We cut a left rear tire down going down the front straightaway. Just all of a sudden, we must have run over something and cut it, and it went flat, and it kind of turned me sideways into the wall.
You spun around and backed in the fence?
Yeah, I backed in the fence, and I was able to hold it against it and keep from not jumping out in front of the traffic.
Tell you what, you got some pretty good damage here. Must have been a pretty good lick.
Yeah, it was. It backed into it pretty hard.
Okay, guys, let's see who's going to win this thing.
Okay, Benny, let's clarify that situation since Morgan said what he had. I think when the tire went flat and he slowed down just a little bit, Sterling Marlin was very close on him. Might have hit him a little bit, but it wasn't Sterling's fault, so we certainly want to clear that up.
And it's good to see Morgan Shepherd is in good shape. Unfortunately, his race car is not. That's what's left of his Ford Thunderbird, as we are under caution for the 6th time today. Back with about a 7-lap sprint after this. Stay with us.
It's summer clearance, guys, and here's the catch. With these rebates, I don't want us to yell and scream like everyone else.
Big rebates on Excel?
Oh, yeah. We just got a ton of Excels with $600 rebates that knock them down to $67.04. With 2 years no-cost service, about all they pay for is gas. With these rebates, we'll let everyone else yell. Now let's get out there and sell some cars. Please? Now get limited-time Hyundai summer clearance rebates of up to $2,000 on Sonata V6.
Hi, I'm Nelson Catalina, head basketball coach at Arkansas State. Show your support for the Indians with ASU clothing from Indian Book and Supply. Personally, the reason I shop at Indian Book and Supply is for the service. The employees know exactly what you need. They really know their business.
You can save money with good used college textbooks here at Indian Book and Supply.
For art supplies, you can shop the Artist Pad.
So remember, Indian Book and Supply, your off-campus bookstore for your on-campus needs.
Extended hours during ASU back to school.
Go! Let's go!
We welcome you back to Michigan International Speedway, Detroit Gasket 200 here in Brooklyn, Michigan. Gorgeous day for racing. Unfortunately, some people have had their troubles, and both the Burton brothers, Ward and Jeff, have been on and off pit road. Ward is back in the pits again, and in the Hardy Chevrolet, the A.G. Dillard-owned team. It's been a tough weekend for them, but one driver who's just been having a great day, back and forth keeping those radials hot, is the Winn-Dixie driver, Mark Martin.
Of course, as he weaves that car, Earnhardt behind him, other drivers doing the same thing, trying to knock any debris off the tires that they might have picked up going slow around there. We're about to get the green this time around. We want to say hello to Tommy House, one of the NASCAR Busch Series officials, who is not here this weekend as a result of an operation. I wish Tommy the best, and certainly all the NASCAR officials send their best too.
And for those of you able to hear some radio coming out, that is Elmo Langley, the pace car driver, who's driving that Pontiac Trans Am, and he rockets that red Trans Am down pit road as Mark Martin will get the green flag, and it'll be a shootout, lap 95, as they come to turn 1, and we'll see if indeed the caution flag helped Earnhardt at all, but Martin starts to pull away, as he did a minute ago.
Well, that car just works so well down on the bottom of the racetrack, Jerry. He gets traction off the turn, and look how far he has already pulled away, as there is a battle now for the 3rd position, as Robert Presley moves on the inside of Rick Wilson in the Boot Country car. Robert driving deep on into turn 3. Well, he has to back off right in the middle of the turn. Here comes Wilson back. That's going to be good for Earnhardt, because that let him pull away a little bit as Mark Martin continues to pull away from Earnhardt.
Remember, we told you the young drivers want to be impressive here in front of all the factories just 60 miles away in Motor City of Detroit. Robert Presley, at 34 years of age, from Asheville, North Carolina. Second-generation driver. His father, Bob, one of the best short-track competitors ever to come out of Asheville. And look at Steve Grissom talking about young drivers being impressive. Could possibly take the points lead. In fact, should take the points lead if he gets a good top 5 finish. And the Channel Lock driver from Gaston, Alabama, will take over the spot.
Yeah, the Slim Jim car, David Green, who was leading points coming in, is being shown now back in 19th position, Jerry. So Steve Grissom would take over the point and have a pretty good point lead, as a matter of fact, as they go to to New Hampshire next weekend.
And here's last year's winner, Todd Bodine, out on the inside, trying to make a move inside Ricky Craven as they began to move toward the front. In the final laps, every position counts, and David Green, our point leader, needs to get as many as possible. Let's check in with John Turner.
You know, this is David Green's first trip here to Michigan International Speedway as a driver. He was here last year working with Bobby Labonte. He told me he was getting more and more comfortable with this racetrack and that he hoped to finish today. He wasn't looking at really winning the race, but if you look at his record from the first half of the year, of the 12 remaining races, he's got 6 top 10 finishes already at those racetracks. So he says he's thinking championship. If he can get through today, get a decent finish out of today, he feels very confident about the remainder of the season.
Indeed he should, the way he has been consistent all year long. 3 laps to go, and they really shuffled up. Terry Labonte on the inside of Steve Grissom. Labonte in the white and red numeral, car number 14. He takes a spot away. Grissom in the car number 31. And the car number 75 still smoking. The car just moving out of the left of your screen. That's our leader, Mark Martin. Then comes Earnhardt. Then Robert Presley in the 59. Labonte in the 14. Grissom the 31. And 75 still puffing a little smoke every now and then, but Rick Wilson hanging right with him.
Done a great job with that car today, and here's the car number 99 of Ricky Craven having a great run here today. This might be one of his better super speedway runs as he moves on the inside, or tries to. Rick Wilson, he had to back off because he was going to be run out of racetrack there.
Ricky Craven, the 1991 Busch Grand National North champion, and last year's Busch Grand National Rookie of the Year. Ricky Craven has a spotter, Jeff Gordon, on top of the truck, letting them know what's going on as they are door to door now out of turn 2. Smoke still coming out. Rick Wilson says, never mind, I'm driving the race car. Laps down, couple laps to go, and Rick Wilson in the car number 75 trying to take the spot away. That's 5th spot they're battling for now, and Wilson has the advantage in turn 3.
Well, and Steve Grissom he's a smart race driver. He's got to think here, hey, now, I'm close to the end of this race, going to get me a top 10 finish. Don't need to do anything foolish here. Well, he pulls back out in front of Rick Wilson as they get the white flag, Jerry. They're still jockeying around back there, but Steve Grissom wants to see the checkered flag. He don't want to do anything foolish and not be able to see it.
Steve Grissom knows he can possibly take the point lead, possibly have a shot at getting a leg up to get his first Busch Series championship. Mark Martin looks to be on his way to victory for the 3rd time in 1992. Earnhardt 2nd, Robert Presley 3rd, Terry Labonte 4th, Grissom 5th, Rick Wilson 6th, Ricky Craven 7th, and Todd Bodine now being shown in the 8th position, last year's winner. Last time out of turn 4 for 34-year-old Batesville, Arkansas driver Mark Martin, as Carl Simmons waves the checkered flag, and Martin will take the victory. And here's about the line as Sterling Marlin and the car number 92, that's Larry Pearson, they battle. And Steve Meal, who called the shots all day, has got to be smiling. Right, John Kernan?
Yeah, not smiling a lot now, but that big smile when he crossed the finish line with that checkered flag. A great job for you guys. Looked like that call when you loosened the car up a little bit early on was the right thing to do because he just ran away.
Yeah, this place gets tight. We were worried about being loose yesterday afternoon, but we were afraid we were going to be tight as the race went on. So we took a round and a half of wedge out of about 24 laps in the race, and he said he's been good ever since. So we're happy to have won that one. We got more work to do on the Valvoline car now.
You guys won last week at Watkins Glen and Winston Cup. You win today. Since so many of you guys are involved in this effort, how much does the momentum carry over to into Sunday's race?
Well, there's Valvoline guys here, Winn-Dixie guys, and Keystone guys. Everybody pitches in. It's one big team. So when one guy wins, we all win, and maybe it'll help both cars tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Steve. Steve Meal, the crew chief for Mark Martin, is headed on his way to victory lane.
And Mark Martin will be on his way to victory lane where John Colonel gets up. There you get a look at Mark Martin, the nice-looking young man from Arkansas, as he wheels the Winn-Dixie colors in and waves to the crowd as he comes down pit road, and some of the crews coming out to give him the high five. He'll make the right-hand turn to victory lane. Mark Martin led 92 of 100 laps. There were 5 lead changes, and the young man picks up win number 3 in Busch Series competition, trying to make it 2 in a row in Winston Cup tomorrow as he will wheel, as you heard Steve Mill, his crew chief, his car from the 12th starting spot. And now Mark Martin climbs out and waves to the crowd. And let's go to Benny Parsons.
Okay, Mark, go ahead, put your hat on you because we got to talk to you. There we go. Different hat than last week, same result, a victory.
Well, I just want to thank Goodyear for putting us on the greatest race tires in the world. Man, those things were super. They, the longer this car ran on them, the faster it got. And I really want to thank my crew, too, all the Winn-Dixie folks for hanging there with us, and the fast pit stops. I think we came out of the pits in first every time today.
This car, this year, if you finish the race, you win the race. That's about it.
Yeah, I've wrecked it several times and broken it several times, but if we can keep it running all day, she's tough. Once again, I'd like to say thanks to all the Winn-Dixie folks. This is a great day for us.
What was Earnhardt saying to you when he pulled up beside of you on the caution flag?
I think he was wanting to probably intimidate me, but he was really kind of asking me if his right front tire and fender was okay. He had got up against somebody, but he said in Winston that he pulled up beside of me to intimidate me, you know, and I wouldn't look at him, but I would look at him today. So
What did you tell him about his right front fender?
I wasn't hurt. It was going to be a good race. Dale's car was really quick for 2 or 3 laps, and I hated to see that yellow right at the end, you know, because Dale's tough, and on cold tires he might have had a shot. But I found out after seeing what happened there that his car was really great on new tires, that if they were used and we got a yellow, I could still pull away. But if we put brand new tires on for a couple of laps, he could make me run really hard. I'd have to kind of work at it, and then the longer we'd run, those radials would just start kicking in for us.
Can you learn anything in the Busch Grand National car on Saturday afternoon, a car that's lighter, a 6-cylinder engine, about Sunday's race?
We can learn that we like to win.
You like that, huh?
We like that.
Steve Grissom trying to win a championship. He's with John Kernan.
Steve, great comeback today. You told me this morning that you figured the car was going to run all right. You were going to handle the race well, and great finish.
Well, I tell you, with qualifying, we just didn't do it. The car was fast right off the trailer, and when it got qualifying time, we done our usual deal with the Channel Lock Chevy and qualifying the back. But I tell you, this guy's on the team. They worked super hard, had it driving good, and you know, that's the main thing. As long as you handle, you get back toward the front, and we're just a little bit tight there at the end of the race, but still top 5 finish. We'll take it.
By my calculations, our calculations, the way you look at it, as close as it was, you're in the points lead right now, heading down the home stretch. How's the feeling?
Well, I mean, you know, the points are important, and sure, we'd like to win the championship, but again, we approached this race just like we approached Daytona back in February, and that was to go there to win the race, and if not, finish as good as you can. If you do that, the points will be there, and I tell you, these boys, they kept their head up, they're working hard, keep their nose to the ground, and, you know, hopefully when it comes into the season, we'll be around in the hunt.
You know, we're in Detroit, Motor City's, what, an hour east of here. How important is it to have a good showing up here and let some of these guys, the factory teams and things, to see you perform as far as moving up into Winston Cup? How important was today's run?
Well, you know, more so than that, I think it's probably that we've had a good showing here for this team, for Channel Lock. They had 200 people here today, and you know, it's good to have a good showing for them. We've had our past 2 finishes, our races hadn't been that great. We've run good in them, we just hadn't finished. And none of these boys put their head down, and it wasn't time to push the panic button. And here we are back, and had a good run today.
Steve Grissom with a good run, a top 5 finish, looking to win that first Busch Grand National Championship.
Started back in 33rd spot and finished 5th today. Lots of racing action coming your way tomorrow. Live flag-to-flag coverage at Champion Spark Plug 400. Today's winner, Mark Martin, will start his Valvoline Ford outside of row 6 in 12th spot. Be sure to join us for our live flag-to-flag coverage. Bob Jenkins and all the crew tomorrow right here at Michigan. Back after this.
Oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram Extra Guard Oil Filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram Extra Guard. American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
In America, your car is not just something you own. It's a part of your life. To give your car complete protection, Texaco has developed Haviland Formula 3 motor oil. With not 1 but 3 kinds of protection against heat stress, starting friction, and engine dirt. Haviland Formula 3. Add more life to your car.
Our Speed World coverage has been brought to you by Allied Signals Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. By Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil, add more life to your car. And by Suzuki, your Suzuki motorcycle and ATV dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. And a nice car there in Victory Lane as they celebrate the Winn-Dixie crew down there. But let's check in with our Benny Parsons with another nice car. BP?
Hey, guys, what do you think of this ride? This is a 1951 Ford. This car belongs to Jack Roush, and I'm telling you, it looks better, I'm sure, than the day it rolled off the assembly line. But this is the type of car that I learned to drive on. I was 11 years old in 1952. Used to sit on my dad's lap behind this great big steering wheel, going down those dirt roads in North Carolina. He'd let me steer. And he said, just keep it in the routes. That's all I had to do. And I tell you, this brings back so many memories, I'm almost threatened to. And guess what?
No.
The key's in it.
Uh-oh, no. Somebody get him.
Bye, see you guys.
Oh, man, Jack Roush, wherever you are, buddy, you just lost the car. BP is in there. We can get that hit, get his...
Boy, I tell you, Jerry, I saw that car down in the garage area this week, and it brought back some memories to me, too. I bought one of those things new. I was 19 years old when it came out. Bought one of them new, and I'll tell you, there goes Benny. Well,
oh, man, he's fired it up. Let's check in with, while Benny takes out his way around the racetrack, let's check in with John. John?
Oh, sure. Benny gets a car. I stay here with Robert Presley. And, you know, we talked about Robert possibly moving up into Winston Cup. And, Robert, tell everybody what you told me about running against these Winston Cup drivers in Busch racing.
I tell you, we've got to beat them, you know, down here in this Busch first. And Dale and Mark, they just wore us out today, you know. The only way we could beat them is in a long run. So maybe if we run 500 laps here instead, or 500 miles instead of 250, we might have beat them. But, you know, they was tough, and we done everything we could, just come up short.
You were the highest finishing Busch Series regular, making it your way up in the points now. But Winston Cup next year, you mentioned for one car in particular. You know, can you comment on that? Are you going to be in Winston Cup next year?
Well, we've talked to, you know, 5 or 6 teams, and we've got something pretty solid right now, and maybe in another week or 2 we can announce it. You know, we still like just a little bit of paperwork.
Now, what about this points battle? You told me, I guess it was yesterday, we were talking that it is the most important thing right now, not going to Winston Cup?
Yeah, you know, that's all I've got on my mind right now is winning this Busch Grand National Championship. We got Steve 10 points today. You know, if we can get 10 the next 10 races, you know, we can beat him by about 10. So that's what we're hoping for.
Well, you know, I know last year they won more races than anyone else on the Busch circuit, but consistency was a little bit of a problem. Got into also some other people's messes. Didn't win the championship. I know Robert would really like to win it, bring it home this year. It looks like they found that consistency that they need to win the championship. Speaking of consistency, what about Ken Schrader? You know, Benny, the last few races, he's been starting near the front. He's up front tomorrow.
You dirty guys in the truck, I was ready to leave in my nice 51 Ford. You said I got to come back to work because we got to stay on there for another few minutes. So I got to come back and interview Ken Schrader instead of riding off in the 51 Ford. Schrader, finished 9th today. Tomorrow you're on the pole for the Champion Spark Plug 400. You need a victory, buddy.
Yeah, we need one real bad. You know, we didn't like our 9th today. I think maybe we brought the wrong car. This place so fast now. Due to Goodyear's new tire, I think we need our Daytona Talladega car. But I got a 9th place car tomorrow. I think we're looking pretty good.
You broke the track record by over a half a second. Is that what we're going to see the rest of the year?
It's going to be real fast. Goodyear just keeps coming back with newer tires and better tires all the time. Went through the factory at Akron and watched them build them Thursday, and I think that gave all the drivers enough confidence to see how they do it, just to drive them harder too, because they're just phenomenal tires.
And they tell me that this tire is not only fast for one lap, but it's a very consistent tire, fast for an entire pit stop.
The Busch car, you got to scare yourself the whole run. You just never check up. You just run her flat out the whole time.
Is that why you're so white and sweating so much?
It's a thrill.
He's scared. Let's go in the truck, buddy. We'll get you unscared.
And Kenny Schrader is from Fenton, Missouri. We might mention a number of the drivers here. Kenny Wallace, Mike Wallace, some of the Busch Grand National drivers, some Winston Cup drivers, even some IndyCar drivers, Ned, are going to be making their way to St. Louis this Wednesday at Northwest Plaza. They're going to be signing autographs for the Flood Relief Fund to try to generate some revenue for the folks who have been decimated by that horrible flood there in the Midwest. And I know the number of the drivers who are from that area. Mike Wallace in particular said, please, if you get a chance to mention, we're going to be there at that mall. I believe you're going to head out, Ned, possibly. A number of people will be there, including some IndyCar drivers. I believe John Andretti is coming down. That's on Wednesday of this week. And all of the donations for autographs will go to the folks who had the serious problem with the flood. And as Benny Parsons, there's his ride still waiting on him there. We'll be back with more from Michigan International Speedway as Mark Martin has gone to victory lane for the third time in 1993 here. Back with more after this.
Don't wait. Get the news weekly of motoring, Auto Week. Don't wait for driving impressions. Auto Week drives them all and tells you about them first. Don't wait for car news. Auto Week covers the world. Auto shows, the new, the old, and brings it to you fast. Don't wait for racing news. Get the news weekly of motoring. Auto Week brings you the winningest coverage first. Don't wait. Get Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring, now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for this ESPN Race Weekend special. Get Auto Week at the lowest price ever, $17.95 for 52 issues. But don't wait. This offer expires midnight on Monday. Get Auto Week at the lowest price ever. Call 1-800-828-4100.
Back at Michigan International Speedway, action here in Victory Lane. But what about action tonight on the gridiron? NFL preseason, the LA Raiders take on the Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann will be on hand to bring you all the action. NFL preseason live right here on ESPN. And there's Mark Martin still being pictured, photographed there in Victory Lane, and right behind him they pulled a Valvoline Ford. That's the car he'll drive tomorrow. The crew pulled it there so he wouldn't have far to run for that final practice session as they're getting ready for that final session for Winston Cup. And speaking of Winston Cup, a driver who ran today and will run tomorrow is standing by with John Kernan.
Jerry, it's been a very busy weekend for Todd Bodine, climbing in and out of the Busch car, climbing in and out of the Winston Cup car yet. Good finish today. Also starting 6th forward tomorrow. That may have surprised some people. Did it surprise you?
Yeah, it did. You know, the factory stars car was running great in practice. And we felt like we had a good shot at the top 20, and we were going to be happy with that, you know, getting the race the first day. And we just got a good lap. I didn't do anything different. The car ran great. It ran great off the truck, so we're looking forward to tomorrow. Today, we just a little bit short. You know, we handled real good. The car ran great. The fiddle faddle, the Chevrolet was up. We got it up front. We started 17th, got it up to 8th there at the end. Just came up a little short. Didn't have enough for them Winston Cuppers today.
Any pressure on you tomorrow? You going to lose any sleep tonight? I mean, you start so far up front.
No, I'm going to sleep real good tonight. It's been busy. This is the first time I ever did double duty back and forth. And all day yesterday, I was in a race car. Because if I wasn't practicing one, I was practicing the other. So we're really looking forward to tomorrow. I learned a lot today. I think it's going to help me tomorrow.
I'll tell you what, as short as tomorrow's race is, and as much as he's been in a race car this weekend, it's going to seem like a cakewalk for Todd Bodine, Jerry.
Need to go back to the room and have a little fiddle faddle for energy. And we'll take a look at our results today. Mark Martin, of course, winning it in dominating fashion. Earnhardt, Presley, Labonte, and Grissom in the top 5.
And 6th through 10th, Rick Wilson, Ricky Craven, Todd Bodine, Ken Schrader, and Jack Sprague with a good run here today.
Just missing a top 10 finish, Chuck Bound, former series champion. There's Larry Pearson, Sterling Marlin, Rodney Combs getting a good finish, and Harry Gant, who started 40.
And 16th through 20th are Mike Wallace, Joe Bessie, David Bonnet finishing in the lead lap, and David Green, the point leader going in, but no longer the point leader, and Tom Petty.
Ward Burton will lose some valuable points. He had trouble early on with a caution flag tagged the wall. He finishes in 25th spot. There's Tim Steele, who, driving the Davey Allison car, had contact with the wall, got a 28th place finish. Bill Elliott, who was the pole sitter, will finish back in 35th position. Tim Feeder with a rookie driver. Phil Parsons having trouble, engine problems. He will get a 40th place finish. And the ASA point leader, what a tough beginning he had in Busch Series competition. His car got airborne and rolled out of turn 2 to bring out the caution for the first time today. Our point standings, yes, Gaston, Alabama driver Steve Grissom takes over the point lead. David Green slides back to 2nd spot. Robert Pratt